Yesterday I made a video to tell my side of the story of how I left Christian fundamentalism. And I was thinking about how that had gone, and I realized that I didn't say very much about the mental struggles that I went through as I left home. So today I wanted to sort of give some suggestions and help for those who might be leaving those groups and families that are still stuck in Christian fundamentalism. One thing that I wish I had done when I first left home was see a counselor. I think that would have been a very wise thing for me to do. It didn't work out for me because of my situation, and I needed to get a job. But that's one thing that would be very helpful if you are leaving Christian fundamentalism. If you could start finding a counselor. Counselors are hard to find, and it's hard to find a good one. Later on, maybe I'll do a video on like things to recognize in a good counselor and things to recognize in bad counseling to help you with some guidelines. As of right now, I'm not seeing a counselor, which is not ideal, but hopefully I will soon. One thing that really helped me though when I left was I got the experience and the privilege of talking to lots of other people who had left Christian fundamentalism before me. And they were on journeys to heal, and they were able to share their story, and I was able to feel less alone and also feel like there was hope and I wasn't in the wrong. Having the support of those people meant everything to me. So later on, I hope that I'll be able to interview some of those people and some other people as well, so that those of you who are coming out of Christian fundamentalism are able to hear those stories and be encouraged as well. Reaching out and helping other people who are suffering in situations that I'm familiar with is kind of what gives me passion to do these videos and to write my blog. So a lot of times I find that when I'm helping someone else, I find answers for myself, and I'm able to heal in ways that I wouldn't be able to if I stayed isolated and didn't talk to people and tried to deal with it on my own. So if you are stuck in Christian fundamentalism or coming out of it, I suggest that you try to find someone who is in a similar place as you and mentor each other, because that has been really helpful to me. It's really hard. The guilt that we feel when we've left is always really heavy, because we're taught growing up all our lives that we're wrong. We're always wrong. Our parents are always right. And if we don't do what our parents say, we need to be punished. And that's like, it makes it very hard to be an adult in this world when you feel like you aren't an adult. I had trouble when I left home because I wasn't referring to myself as an adult. I looked at other people, parents. If they had kids, they were adults. And I didn't feel like my voice was worthwhile listening to because I was a child and nobody would respect me. And it's sad how fundamentalism puts people down like that. Women feel like they can't speak because men are over them. Men are the responsible ones. And children feel like they can't speak because their parents are always right and they are always right. I'm realizing that there's going to be people out there who are going to want to give the message of, oh, you're just bitter. That's why you're making these movies and smearing your parents all over Facebook. Well, see, I don't see it that way. What I see is that if at any point in time, our abusers, my parents, or anyone, can come forward and say, I have done something terrible. I have abused someone. I need to change. I need to apologize to the person, and then turn around and speak out against that abuse. At any point in time, my parents could do that. They could change their ways and join me. And I'd interview them on video, or they could write something. They could just show me that they are fighting against the abuse that they caused before. And at any point, our abusers can do that. But until they do that, they have no right to tell us that we're just bitter. There's a place for forgiveness. It never needs to take away from our fire to fight against the abuse and tell our stories and be honest about what happened to us. So forgiveness is not what the fundamentalists want it to be. What they want it to be is for them to be able to tell us that we're bitter, that we need to repent and shut up. They're just trying to justify what they're doing because they feel guilty. So forgiveness isn't what they want it to be. What it is as us realizing that what they did was wrong and we need to forgive them and not seek revenge, but to seek to point out what's wrong so that they can change. And when they do change, welcome them with open arms and hope, always hope that they will change. So gaslighting. Gaslighting is when someone tells you that your story isn't valid or tries to put you down in some way about abuse that you have experienced. For example, it would be like if I told you my story and you said, well, mine's worse because this is what happened to me. That's gaslighting. Gaslighting is inappropriate and it will not be tolerated on my YouTube channel or on Facebook or anywhere else. Everybody's story is valid. Everybody's story needs to be heard. Even if you are in the situation as well and you see what they're saying and you think that they have a screwed perspective, their perspective is what they feel. It's what they think, and they need to be able to express it in order to process it for themselves. So if you have been abused in any way in this world, don't be afraid to tell your story. Your story is precious, like all the other stories, and it deserves to be heard. And nobody should be gaslighting you and telling you that you're just bitter. The fundamentalists really want us to believe that we are just bitter. They will use any argument to put us down and try to make us shut up so that they will stop feeling guilty. They need to stop feeling guilty and change. They need to see that what they're doing is wrong and fight against what they're doing. It's actually been a long time since I went through the things that I wrote down in my journals and emails that my dad and I exchanged since I left home, and I'm thinking that I might go back through those and maybe share some of them on video so that you can get a better idea of my mental state when I left home. Maybe hearing my story a little more in depth will help with your processing as well. That I sometimes forget is that it is not wrong to stay in an abusive situation. It's not wrong to choose that for yourself. If you're an adult and you have the option to leave an abusive situation and you choose to stay, there's nothing wrong with that. And I hope that I can encourage people who choose to stay as well. Now, what is wrong is when people stay in abuse and become abusers and abuse other people. Because abuse does make abusers. I've seen it in my siblings and in other people. When someone is abused, they have, in order to change and not repeat the pattern, they have to recognize it and process it and purpose not to be that way. And it's a struggle. It's not easy at all. That's why I feel like leaving is the better choice, because then you can be more certain of processing it and getting through it and not repeat. So if you have a story that you would like to share, I'd like you to feel free to message me. You can email me. My email is sarahnbertram@gmail.com, or you can message me on Facebook or anywhere else that you may have seen these videos, and I will get back with you. I would like to hear your story.